This might seem boring, but it's how people rank #1 on Google. And I use it to take this business from completely invisible to ranking page #1 on Google in just 30 days. But it wasn't luck. It came down to one boring system that anyone can use. And I'm about to show you how to make it work for your business to finally rank at the top of Google. Just like this company who ranked #1 in 90 days, or this company who ranked top 5 for many different keywords. Now, by the end of this video, I'll show you exactly how to do the same. And the reality is that 99% of companies completely ignore this one thing, and the ones that rank #1 spend hundreds of hours on it. It's not your website design, it's not your content, it's not even your keywords, but it's likely what's holding you back from ranking #1 on Google. It's called backlink farming, and it's one of the most important things you can do for your SEO. And the way it works is simple. You get backlinks from other sites that are credible and link them back to your site. Then Google sees your content as valuable, so then you move up in search rankings. However, earning links from other sources isn't easy, but I'm about to walk you through exactly how to do it. So the first method I'm going to showcase is doing blogger outreach. One of the easiest ways to do blogger outreach is to literally go on Google and type in "write for us" and then add whatever business type you are. You could also do like what industry you're in. So let's say you're a SaaS company, so you'd say "Write for us SaaS," and you can see that a bunch of these "Write for us" links are going to be popping up, and you can go ahead and click on any of them. So I'm going to click on Bayleaf Digital. So it looks like Bayleaf Digital is a marketing agency. So they have an entire landing page dedicated to writing for B2B SaaS audiences. And essentially what you can do here is write a guest post for them. So they have all the guidelines. They even have a ready to connect form, and it shows you literally what to write about, or rather what are the structures that you can follow. What are the guidelines to a guest post. You can literally write this article, reach out to them, and post your article on there and have a link back to your site. So obviously you'd want to check a couple of parameters that we'll go through later in this video to make sure they're a good site. But how do you actually reach out to them? So there's a couple different ways. The first one, most of these types of sites will have forms where you could just reach out to them that way and kind of submit some stuff. But if you wanted to reach out personally, maybe for prioritization, maybe just to speed up the process, you can figure out who's working at their company. So in this case, they have an about page, they have a meet the team page. You can also go to LinkedIn, you can go to a couple different places to find out who's on their team. And you're just gonna scroll through. So it looks like Bayleaf has job titles here. So going through these guys, we have competitive research and SEO expert, so that might be a good reach out. We have marketing content manager, and then just general marketing manager. So it's going to be one of these two that we want to reach out to. We'll just go ahead with Terry and reach out to her, marketing content manager, because it looks like she just manages content here. So if we click on her profile, looks like there's no contact data. So what we could do is go into Apollo. So you just take the name, probably first and last name is the best one that you want to use. Okay, then coming down here, it looks like Terry popped up here, Bayleaf Digital. So you can go ahead and click on their profile and obviously access their email here and then shoot them an email. One really good email example, we can go through it here. So you can say, "Hi Terry, I noticed you recently published an article on," and we could do a topic that we'll find in a second. Then you could also say, "I'd love to contribute a guest post article on," then you could put an angle here. "Here's what I'm thinking." And then you can dive into things that are going to kind of please their submission guidelines here on this page. So you can go through and see that they don't like generic digital marketing topics. So you're obviously not going to choose a digital marketing topic. So you can come down here instead and talk about SaaS product market fit, SaaS lead generation, any of these kind of topics, and then build out a structure. And here are example pitches that they recently published. So you can open one of those up, see how they structure it, and then kind of build out that structure and that outline and kind of send them a brief. But now for the topic and the angle, you can go to their most recent blog. So it looks like they have a SaaS marketing blog here. We could see that 7 best practices in marketing automation, top 15 SaaS marketing agencies. I see there's one here about GEO, generative engine optimization, obviously a hot topic right now. So you could probably talk about this one and just go through and mention some things about GEO. So in this case, I noticed you recently published an article on GEO for SaaS. I'd love to contribute a guest post article on GEO versus traditional methods of SEO. What is working? We could say, and what is working. And then here's what I'm thinking. You go ahead and put together a small brief and then boom, just within 5 to 10 minutes, you have a submission out there, and this is, probably going to be accepted, and have a perfectly good backlink. Okay, so the next method is going to be partner network. So these essentially could be business relationships, customers, associations you're in, business networking groups, people you've worked with, it does not matter. Essentially existing sites of people that are in your network that you can get an easy backlink from. So just one quick example of this would be this guy named Logan. We did a lot of work together on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So I created a case study for him because he got me some pretty good results. So in this case, instead of just having dry content, I can pitch him the idea to add some sort of article or some sort of piece of content about the case study, and then within that I can drive a link back to my site. So there's plenty of use cases for this, but you can maximize and utilize other people's content about you that you already have existing relationships with. So an example of this outreach would be, hey Logan, we've had great success working together on LinkedIn. Would you be open to featuring us on your partners page, or rather it would be on your case studies page with the link to our websites? And you can even go one step further and draft the content for him and then decide what the anchor text is going to be. And again, this can vary to many different use cases. It can be anyone in your business network. So if you're in a network of like 100 or 200 other SaaS companies, let's say, then you can find places within their content or within their site that might be relevant to your niche, even though you guys are kind of in the same industry, and get a nice backlink from one of their sites. Now, building enough backlinks to get results can take up to 12 months. And most SaaS founders don't know which blogs to pitch, they don't know where to place backlinks, and they don't know how to spot quality backlinks, which is why they're stuck on page 2 of Google. So if you want to climb to the top of results without having to figure this out on your own, then you can schedule a call with us below. We've helped SaaS companies like OnBrand rank #1 on Google, and we'll see if we can do the same for you. However, getting backlinks is just step 1, because after working with dozens of SaaS companies, I've learned that not all backlinks are equal. Some can actually hurt the quality of your site. See, links from low quality sites can make Google see your site as spammy, which can actually lower your rankings. So how do you actually know how to filter the bad from the good? Well, I'm going to show you the exact 4 rules we use to qualify every single backlink. This way you don't waste your time farming low quality ones. Okay, so diving into Ahrefs here, we have Backlink Digital, the same guest post site that we've been looking at. So we're gonna go ahead and take URL here, throw it into Ahrefs, and it's going to show us the path. We want to change this to subdomains so we can see the entire site's kind of holistic view. So the first quality factor we're going to look at is going to be the domain rating. What we want is a 40 to 70 plus domain rating. Now, a lot of people say that the domain rating needs to be higher than your current site's domain rating, but this isn't necessarily true. You just want a 40 to 70 plus. The next rule we're going to use is looking at Ahrefs organic traffic estimations. So these are technically inaccurate traffic estimations because Ahrefs just has third-party data and they don't have the real data showing. But based on the keywords, they get it generally correct. And what we can see here is that they're getting around 400 traffic per month. They used to be getting at least a few thousand traffic per month. They're ranked for a few hundred keywords. So far that looks fine to us for a 43 domain rating site. So the next rule we're going to look at is going to be organic traffic. Now, Ahrefs actually gets inaccurate traffic numbers because they're just pulling third-party estimates. But what we can see here is that there's a historical trend of maybe a few thousand monthly organic traffic. And then right now they're getting around 400 monthly organic traffic. So this is just fine for us for having a 43 domain rating and ranking for a few hundred keywords. The third thing we're going to look at is niche relevance. So essentially, let's say you have an AI content writing SaaS, something in the marketing space. If we were to take a look at Backlink Digital, what we're seeing is that they offer SaaS marketing, they offer SEO services. They talk a lot about SaaS in their blog. I mean, their entire blog is called a SaaS marketing blog. So right off the bat, that is niche relevant, or rather industry relevant. So if you were to have a content writing SaaS or some sort of SaaS in the marketing space, what you would want is a site that's relevant to the SaaS space, the tech space, the marketing space, or anything like kind of relevant. What you don't want is some sort of makeup brand or some sort of cosmetics brand that is just completely irrelevant. So in this case, we're looking good with Backlink Digital, so they pass the third check. And the final check is you're going to want to open up organic keywords here and see what they're ranking for, preferably in all locations because they can be getting some spammy traffic from outside the US. So looking at all locations, you could even click here to see by location. What we want to look for is that they have genuine organic traffic and genuine rankings, and that there's not spam or manipulated traffic, meaning the keywords are not manipulated. So one key trigger you would see is if Bayleaf Digital, so their branded name, had 30,000 monthly organic search volume, which wouldn't make any sense at all. Therefore, that would be a manipulated keyword, meaning they're manipulating the traffic behind that given keyword. But in this case, they have 90 traffic, which is perfectly normal for a brand keyword. And then scrolling through here, what we're seeing is that it's just how to get clients and logistics business, marketing plan, SaaS right for us, obviously specialized B2B, SaaS marketing trends. All of this looks pretty general, pretty genuine as well. And we're seeing that these are their main traffic sources. And if we were to sort by search volume as well, we can see that, Bayleaf, 1100 search volume, digital marketing agency for SaaS, just completely normal stuff, right? Calculate LTV. So nothing is jumping out at us. Nothing is like some really long number or some really long URL that might have like 20,000 searches per month. Therefore, Backlink Digital passes the 4th check, and we would be okay receiving a link from them, and it would only benefit our domain. Now, here's the thing. You can spend hours filtering through these links and have no idea if they're actually working, because the reality is it takes at least a few months to see results from SEO. But by then, you've already wasted time on something that might not even be working. So we track a few key metrics from day one to show us if there's actually any progress. So a couple of examples of this, one of them is in Google Search Console. You can pull up your site, turn on average position here, sort by the last 7 days, and then you can go ahead and set a comparison to the previous 7 days prior, and then hit apply. And then what you can look at is position difference. So go ahead and sort by position difference. And then you can just scroll through on the queries tab to the given query that you might be getting backlinks towards. In this case, we don't have a specific example, but we can look at a random keyword to see some big positional moves. So right here, we have objections to requests for admissions California. We actually have targeted backlinks to this keyword in the past. And what we can see is that it jumped up from position 27 to 11.5 over the last 7 days. So it's a 15 position jump, right? A lot of these are outside the top 10. So you can also sort by within the top 10. For example, billing software. We actually have been getting backlinks to this within the last 45 days-ish. And we jumped up from position 20 to around position 7 on average. So great jump there. That's a great key metric early on. Another example is coming into Ahrefs and going over to referring domains. And then you can go ahead and showcase the last 30 days, the last month. You can even go to the last 7 days, but quickly getting a lot better data in the last month, and then click on new, and then you can scroll through all of these new domains that have been referring to you within the last 30 days. So in this case, we have 35 new domains. One of them is Medium, for example. You can pull this link up and see what people are writing about. In this case, someone random on September 3rd wrote about top AI legal document summarizer tools, and they probably linked this client somewhere in here. But we could also look at other sites that are a little bit more natural and less on sites like Medium and others. So for example, we have lawyerist.com, which has everything to do with running a law firm. So it's very niche relevant, right? And then you can go ahead and look at the links that are targeting us. And what you can see is that we have a best link here, and we're seeing that they're linking to us about appropriate jurisdiction specific cases. So in this case, it's going to our discovery cheat sheet, which allows us to choose a jurisdiction, right? So that's a very good link, and that's an early indicator of a high quality link. And the final indicator you can kind of look at is going over to the backlink section within Ahrefs, and you can sort by new, and you can look at the last month or the last 3 months, however you kind of work on backlink sprints. And essentially you want to just see your growth over time. So in this case, you have 139 new groups of links. And then if we were to compare that to the previous month, so this is looking at September. If we were to look at August, we can see that there were 98 groups of links, new groups of links. So in this case, we increased by around like 40 new links, and our rate of new links is increasing. So that's a great indicator. Now, that's exactly how to build a backlink strategy to rank higher on Google, but that's really just the start, because you still need to target the right keywords, set up a proper site structure, and pump out content that keeps you at the top. And without systems, you can waste months with no results. So if you want us to help speed up the process, you can book a call below. We've helped SaaS companies like OnBrand rank #1 on Google, and we'll see if we can help you do the same. So if that's something you're interested in, book a call below, and I'll see you on the next one.